Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Release Date. I'm Zain Cloe.
And I'm Audrey Post.
Today we'll begin with the recently released film, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is a World War II action film released this past weekend. It's directed by Guy Ritchie and stars Henry Cavill, Eliza Gonzalez, and Alan Ritchson. The film is based on a true story on the first Special Forces mission in history, as England's Prime Minister Winston Churchill gathers a group of operatives to disrupt the Nazi U-boat resupply depot so America can join the European theater of war.
I've seen a decent amount of Guy Ritchie movies, and at worst they're just okay but entertaining, but some of them are really good. This movie's neither. It's not terrible or anything, but it's very boring and non-substantive. This movie, like last year's Sisu, follows in the footsteps of the Nazi murder fest movies popularized by Inglourious Basterds. Unlike Inglourious, and much like Sisu, this movie does very little in the way of anything. So whereas most plots have conflicts and tension, this movie's kind of devoid of it. Things just kind of go off without a hitch in this movie. Problems are glossed over or instantaneously resolved. Nothing bad ever really happens to the characters, and there aren't any obstacles that require them to put much effort into solving. It's kind of boring watching Henry Cavill walk in a straight line for like 35 minutes, periodically shooting a Nazi, then laughing. The characters are generally very weak. There is an attempt at invoking Inglourious Basterds' colorful, distinct, and memorable characters here, but none of them, not even the main character, gets very much screen time at all, leaving them all feeling pretty flat and impersonable. The villain here is also weak. Now, while I hate Nazis and love seeing them get killed as much as the next guy, the villain is just a Nazi with nothing else going on. Hans Landa from Inglourious is an incredibly fleshed out villain with great characterization and moments of uniquely evil and cruel actions to make him stand out. This villain is not a Nazi, but worse, as one of the characters puts it, but the worst thing he does is beat a woman off screen. That's obviously not good, but you history buffs out there might be aware that the Nazis were known for doing considerably worse things. The lighting sucks in this movie, particularly at night. The shots are boring, the pacing is slow, there's just not much going on for this movie. Check it out if you want one halfway decent action scene and an otherwise boring ripoff of Inglourious Basterds. Next up, keeping on theme with World War II, Shoah.
Shoah is a Holocaust documentary directed by Claude Lanzmann. The documentary follows Lanzmann across 14 countries as he interviews Holocaust survivors, Polish citizens, historians, and even SS members in hiding, all while never using any archive footage.
This has been, for years, a movie I've been very intimidated to watch. The whole film clocks in at 9 hours and 26 minutes, making it easily the longest film I've seen. This movie is a harrowing, emotional, exhausting nightmare in the best way possible. This film's commitment to not using archive footage, instead relying on B-roll and the interviews, works to great effect. The subjective experiences of those involved and adjacent to the atrocity become subjective to the viewer without any concrete footage to guide your mind. This parallel is great, as it doesn't supplant the individual's experiences with related but not directly representative footage, as well as being able to create stark juxtapositions between the horror of the events being described with the relative peace of the abandoned facilities where they occurred. Lanzmann's interview style is also extremely compelling. It wasn't until about 3 hours in that I began to understand the genius with which he navigates every interaction. With some, he's very aggressive, particularly towards, and rightfully so, the SS members, never conceding any ground to them and pushing very hard on facts and statistics. Others he's gentler with, beginning with apparently unrelated topics and willingly conceding small facts at the comfort of the interviewee, which inevitably leads them to reveal truths contradictory to previous statements of theirs. He's truly a masterful interviewer, and of course the subject matter could not be more serious or important. This is one of the rare movies I've seen that felt like it was important for me to watch and like I was doing something good or worthwhile by bearing witness to these testimonies. This is certainly not an easy watch, both due to the subject matter and runtime, but I cannot urge you enough to watch it. That's all we have for Release Date. I'm Zain.
And I'm Audrey. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy our final segment of the spring 2024 semester.